Hi guys, I'm Danny, and I started a Sunday gym because I've noticed lately that people tend to go to colleges and universities without actually knowing why they're there. And afterwards, starting jobs that are unfulfilling. So I'm interviewing different professionals to see what they have to say and share their knowledge and experience with you. I hope you enjoy it. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Denny, thank you so much for inviting me and look forward to sharing whatever I can with your community.
Well, thanks for being here. The pleasure's mine. And the program will be focused on three main questions. What do you do for a living? How did you get there? And how did you know that this was the way to go? So tell us what you do for a living, Jack.
You could say I'm a psychotherapist, but I actually work with energetic patterns that exist within family lineages. And so the modality I work with shifts these inherited family patterns to help people break free and live the life that they want to live.
That's pretty interesting. So were you like walking the street one day and then you decided to do it, or something else led to it?
No, it was definitely a series of steps. I was a flight attendant. I was a flight attendant for
Wow.
American Airlines for 10 years.
Yeah. Okay, not every boy, but a lot of boys' dream job. That's amazing, man.
Yeah. It was a great job. I loved it. I loved it. But Denny, the weird thing was, or the interesting thing was after about 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, I started to feel like I need something more meaningful. Like
Yeah.
this job is not meaningful enough for me. And so even though a part of me loved it, I knew I had to move on. And so I got some intuitive indications, some intuitive guidance, and that led me to go back to school. And so at the age of 38, 39, 40, returned, completed
In
getting my
all fairness, you
degree.
look 40 right now. All right, just
Thank
to get
you.
it out of the way.
Well, fortunately, I'm able to travel and live wherever I want now and still work through the internet. So I'm in Mexico right now. So Mexican tan.
Nice.
Yes, yes.
It's what you said is pretty amazing. I honestly didn't thought of it up until now. I know, and I not that I know because I'm not a doctor. This podcast aside, I'm actually in finance and accounting. It's what I've been doing all my life. But I read this and that like normal people, and I know from different articles that, like, let's say, for example, your father used to smoke cigarettes or drink a little bit more, and so did your grandfather. It kind of even if you don't know your father personally, and I'm just using it as an example, right?
No, it's relevant.
Even if you don't know this person, like personally, if you've never met, you kind of have it in you. It's like genetics, like the
Yes.
behavior of gen. And I guess this is why, like, let's say some people like certain, flavors, certain flavors of pizza, ice cream, and it also comes from those before. And it was listed as genetics. I didn't put much attention on it because, truth be told, I don't really put much attention on those in general. But now that you mentioned, maybe psychological thing does occur. Although I'm that kind of a guy that for me, tomorrow is in somebody else's hands and yesterday doesn't exist anymore.
Mhm.
So I don't really neither think about the future or anything. Although I do have a bank loan that I have to pay up until 2051, so they kind of lingers in my mind a little bit. But
Mhm.
that aside, I don't really think about the future nor about the past. But that's an interesting thing you're doing.
Oh, I think too, Denny, relative to your podcast and your community, your tribe, is one of the very interesting things. Can we follow our dreams or can we
Yeah.
not follow our dreams? And a lot of our capacity to either follow our dreams or not follow our dreams regarding our profession or career is related to the lineage, is related to ancestral, as you mentioned, ancestral patterns that we carry. Like, can we break free? Is our family very mainstream and very structured, and so they don't have that opportunity to fully embrace their gifts, to fully manifest like really what's maybe more in their hearts than what they're supposed to do. And so those are also some of the patterns that I work with in the work that I do, is helping people break free so that they can pursue the life of their dreams, whatever that looks like. And I think a lot of people are trapped in corporate experience,
Yeah.
but they'd rather be somewhere else.
Yeah, you're right about that. Me being into finance, all right, this is what I've been doing. I knew what I was going to be, but what I was going to do for a living since I was 16. But I started learning about it when I was 13, 14. So I was in high school, my high school was like that, my bachelor, master. I was about to start a PhD, but it wasn't for me, so I cut it. But and for a very long time, I thought that everybody's like that. And about 3 years ago, I found out that actually I'm in the minority here because most people aren't like that. And this is poisonous. And I know it's a harsh word. All right, I understand that, but it kind of leads me to the third question. How did you knew that this was the way to go? Now you did touch upon it when you shifted career, you felt, or it was like
Mhm,
an instinct or something. And correct me when I'm wrong, of course. But
mhm.
it sounded like you felt it within you that you should start something. And the reason I'm asking this question is actually exactly what you said, with the whole thing that I'm sure you've noticed that people are going to those colleges and universities. Again, I'm not against academia in any shape or form. I'm more power to them. But it's wrong, simply wrong to get a young person to. It's obvious for everybody this person is not meant for this one. And this is not an insult. All right. It just not everyone are good at everything. It's just what it is. I myself tried a few things. I'm not good at them, so I didn't try it anymore. Sometimes you gotta let go, but I think it's impossible, and this is strictly my belief, correct me when I'm wrong again, but I think it's absolutely impossible to do something that makes you miserable for 8 to 10 hours a day and be a happy person, because 8 to 10 hours a day, years and years, it just destroy. It's poisonous for the spirit. That's my belief, of course.
Yeah, I resonate with that 100%. Like, I believe we're spiritual beings. I believe we're spiritual beings. We're having human experience. And um, we have an inner wisdom. We have an inner knowing. We have an inner wisdom. We have an inner guidance.
It's like
And
an
that
intuition, right?
intuition, exactly. And that part of us, if we access that, if we tap into that, if we can learn to trust it, can really guide us where we as souls need to be. Like what's the best path for me? Um, my choice to leave the career as a flight attendant, which was actually in the United States, it's a very good job. It's a ton of time off. It's all the travel and it pays pretty well. Uh, and to go back to school.
It's also pretty risky.
I wouldn't call it. I don't think feel like it's a risky job. I felt for me, it was fun. And it's interesting because I talked to a psychic before, when I was 19. So this is 6, 7 years before I ever got a job as a flight attendant. And she said, I see you traveling. Like I see you not being home. I see you, away from family and things like that. And one of the things she said to me is, but she said something like it feels safe, like there's no risk or something like that, for me. Um,
Very interesting.
I think maybe the greater risk, Denny, is the risk of not living our dreams. Maybe
Yeah.
that's the greater risk. Like that there's that famous quote, like living a life of quiet desperation. Like what if we look back in our life and we're 50, 60, 70 years old and we're like, I really want to be a painter. I really want to be a musician. I really and I didn't do the thing. And I hear people talk about, at the end of life, one of the biggest thing, and Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this, is regret. Like
Yeah.
regret
And when you have this
of the
internal
life not lived.
regret, because you people lie to people, all right, but it's just what happens. But you can't lie
Sure.
to yourself. You can never escape yourself. This is that intuition that I think it is, because you always have it in you. You can't outrun it. And the regrets that you have, they're always gonna follow. So you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah. And in a model in the world, in this world that we've created at this point, is really work is such a huge part of it. So as you say, do you love what you're doing? Is this really what's in your dreams? Do you dream of something else, but you can't do it because mom or dad would not approve? That's another hard example, hard possibility.
It is, and in all fairness, the world is different, especially for the last about 150 years. because let's face it, like before the Industrial Revolution, okay, maybe not 150, but let's say 200 years ago. But 200 years ago, if your father was a blacksmith, you'd be a blacksmith. That's pretty big check because it wasn't like that before. My grandfather, from my father's side, he died 2 years before I was born, so I don't know him. But my father told me that his father told him that, okay, you can do whatever you want as a career, just make sure you know how to be a TV technician, how to fix TVs, because everybody has a TV in their home. Everybody needs to fix it. So at least you have a backup plan. Now, I'm 33 right now. I don't remember ever sending a TV to be fixed or something. If you're done with it, you just throw it away, you get a new one, and that's it. And so things are different. Things are very different. I even had people on the show here, and just as I said, that they lived mom and dad's dreams, and it was hell. And they don't really mean it in a bad way, because every parent is trying to protect their children. But I don't remember who said it, but it's a pretty solid thing that we are training our children for a world that doesn't exist anymore, right? Because what we're teaching them now is not going to be very valid in like 30, 40 years.
No, no. And I liked um I'm remembering what you said at the start as you started to speak about the opportunity, the last
Yeah.
200 years that we as a species, we as a collective have evolved with opportunity that was not presented to our forefathers and our great 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 grandparents. And so we can be in a world where perhaps bringing art, bringing music, can be a career that touches, this person's soul. And certainly finance, all these traditional jobs are super valid, and some people love that. Some people like, I love being an entrepreneur, right? It's not for everybody, but
No,
for
it
me, it's
isn't.
it's it's not. But it is super fun. I love the challenge. I love the game. I love learning how to market, how to reach people, how to connect, all of that. And so, I'll come back to me, Denny, for can we be living the life that we truly want to be living? Like, can we live our dreams? And many times, and I see this in constellation work, the work that I lead, what you'll see is loyalty to our family systems, loyalty to our lineage, even people we haven't met, like you talked about your grandfather passing like two years before you were born. I believe as souls, we still know. I still know that soul. Like that's just my belief. That's what I've seen in the work that we do. That we know the souls in our lineage.
Yeah, I
That
saw a
and
ghost in a liquor
some
store yesterday. I was wondering how. I was very familiar one.
yeah. So um in family loyalties, what you will see souls do is they'll betray their own inner wisdom and their own inner knowing to be in accord with the family rules, whether the rules are stated, whether the rules are not stated. And so I'm a huge fan of that if we follow this, that's in our heart and our soul, that we're actually even doing the best thing for our family, that we're actually carrying. Some people, sometimes lineage is locked into the structure of we have to do this thing. And a soul comes along and they're like, I want to help the rest of these souls break free of that paradigm. Like that paradigm is limiting us. And so if this soul is able to follow their own heart's calling, even though the family may be like, oh, I don't like seeing this, in some way they're actually holding a light up, and others in the family see it and they're like, oh my gosh, like look at that brave, look at that brave grandchild who's breaking out of the paradigm and bringing their gifts to the world.
Truth be told, well, not in every single, I guess, but in most families, there's always this one that stands a little bit aside from everybody. So, at least all the families that I know, and in my family, I was the one that stood a little bit aside because, I used to joke with people that don't really know me. And let's say, because I'm involved in negotiations and something like my grandfather was an engineer, my father is a mechanic, and I got a YouTube channel. So, clearly skips a generation. And, if you do it in a charming way, they don't really pay attention on the fact that actually I am a financial analyst over there working with them and negotiating with them. So it allows the smile to appear on the face and it just makes everything smoother. So I
Yes,
guess
exactly.
I got that sense of humor from being a little bit aside of everybody.
Yeah, and it's funny. My most recent post on Facebook was about the black sheep. And it was about the black sheep at the family reunion. You had one black sheep, and then you have like 1,000 white sheep all around him. This one right in the middle. Perfect.
Yeah. I want to ask you an additional question because you have tremendous experience. You've seen a lot of things. Now, what you're doing is pretty awesome. It's pretty good. It's pretty deep. I'm sure a lot of people will get help because of that, but truth be told, you have an excellent communication skills. You've seen a lot of things being flight attendant and everything. You have an additional set of knowledge. So basically, you could have been everything, anything else. You could have been a lot of things. So why chose that? Was that like an intuition or something?
Yes, I believe 100% that it was my soul path, and my path really is waking people up, brothers and sisters up to our spiritual natures. That if we truly grasp how deeply spiritual we are, that we've had many lifetimes, then we approach life differently. We approach life from a different place, and I believe we approach life from a better place when we're really recognizing perhaps the part of us that's connected to the divine. I believe so. Um, Waking people up to their spiritual natures. I love diving into the realms of the mystical. Uh, could say magic. Uh, yeah. I believe
I think
in
magic
it.
is just something that occurs that we don't understand. So
Mm,
I really, I mean, of course, I use that word every now and then because I have to communicate with people. But my personal belief is that some say that magic is science we don't understand, but science isn't the right word here. It's just a thing we don't understand.
right. Well, Denny, there's an interesting thing, like the work that I do. Okay, we set up a group process. I have a client. They're saying, "Oh, I want to do the process," and then I gather a group of 10 people. And these 10 people take on the roles. They role play in a way, role play. Mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, my dreams. You can do archetypes. And somehow we are able to access greater knowledge and wisdom than we should have. Greater knowledge about what happened in the family, about the family traumas, about the family blocks. So, and science does not
Yeah.
accord what I do. Maybe the more progressive advanced sciences do, quantum theory and those sorts of things get into reality doesn't really exist until we view it, or how we view it changes it. And so I don't know. I love it. I love
I
waking
can
up
tell.
this amazing. Yeah,
Because
it's so
otherwise you
fun.
wouldn't have been doing it if you didn't love it that much. And as you
Yeah,
said, being a flight attendant is like it's like here in the EU, right? Flight attendants get a lot of money. Well, okay, not they're not millionaires or anything, but
no,
they're doing well.
but
Let's
the
put it like that.
quality of life is good to go along with the money.
Yeah, absolutely. And a final question, real quick. If you have an advice that you can give my audience, there's mostly people looking for another job or people just right now graduating, looking for something, what would that advice be?
Follow your heart, which sounds trite. I don't want it to mean it sound like, oh, follow your heart, like everybody could say that. But I mean, if a person is in touch with their deeper inner wisdom, their deeper inner knowing, and they follow that, it will. It's a huge blessing to the entire planet. It's a huge blessing when every person brings their own unique, special gifts to the world, um, and that they can trust that part of them. They can trust the part of them that wants to do it differently.
That's what you said is amazing. I was actually thinking about it like a while ago. This is my personal belief, probably yours as well. I think that every single person, every single person here has some kind of a talent locked within them. But because people don't really know themselves, they can't really find it, and that's why they're miserable.
Yeah. Or they're challenged by their family system and to go against the grain
Yeah.
of what other people's beliefs are. And it's my belief, a lot of people suppress. A lot of people suppress their magic, their gift, their whatever it is to accord with their family system. And unfortunately, what I see many times is many family systems are so wounded There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of unresolved trauma in the lineages. And so many times when we're going along with the family system, we're going along with a wound-based system. Whereas if, let's say, someone's born into a family with super high achievers, super positive, they process their trauma, they integrate the wounds, they grow stronger and stronger. Like that family system, if you accord with them, you're going to be living a pretty special life because that according with a very, very, very positive family. But if there's a lot of trauma in the family, and then we relegate ourselves to, oh, I'm going to accord with this family, but there's a lot of trauma here, it's going to be a marginalized life. It's going to be a marginalized life. Does that make sense?
It makes truckload of sense, and that's why it takes a little bit more courage and strength to be an individualist. You go with the
Absolutely.
flow, that's a pretty big chance you're gonna make a mistake. And with that said, Jack, please do not forget to send me all the links you have so I can put them in the description below. And you know, people, if they want to contact you or something, you can be even more available. And with that said, I'd like to wish you all the best, man. And thanks for being with me. That was an amazing talk.
All right. Thank you so much, Danny. Great to be here. And it's been a pleasure.
Likewise, sir. Bye.
Guys, I hope this one was useful. Please follow the channel on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Gap, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Ring the bell and all the good stuff. Have a nice week ahead, and I'll see you next Sunday.